We have a ton to get to today. Starting off with Trump meeting with Zelensky and Netanyahu today, with both being particularly happy afterwards. Benjamin Netanyahu was very happy after his meeting with Donald Trump, and we'll show you exactly what he said to the press right afterwards. Senator Lindsey Graham's funeral, may he rest in peace, is the first time we see Prince Reza Pahlavi, Presidents Trump, Zelensky, and Prime Minister Netanyahu all in the same place. Saudi Arabia is still desperately trying to protect its oil amidst attacks, while global oil demand is about to surge once again, as indicators in China have shown, and in Iran. The terrorist Islamic Republic committed a grave mistake by publicly executing three of our bravest and brightest, as backlash has been very intense about this event. We have exclusive direct messages from inside Iran about this event, and we will be covering the further and continued collapse of the Islamic Republic. Starting off with Trump's meetings today with Zelensky and Benjamin Netanyahu, we are going to get straight into it. With that, it was supposed to be this one. Mr. Zelensky has shown up in what seems to be a half suit, half military outfit. It's just a military outfit painted black with a collar there. And he has expressed pretty big joy that he has gotten licenses to produce Patriot missile interceptors. He's met with the heads of Lockheed Martin and other defense companies, and has largely secured himself some pretty large backing when it comes to the war between Russia and Ukraine. He's emerged pretty happy afterwards about that. The meeting between President Zelensky and Donald Trump is rather significant because it may be an indicator that the Russia-Ukraine war may be coming to a close in the next few months, maybe a couple years even. It's on the horizon at this point. So Laura Loomer here is saying something that I told you guys last week. When Marco Rubio met with the foreign minister of the Russian Federation, I told you guys that it was most likely the Russian Federation reaching out to the US and saying, hey, we need to end this conflict. Here's our terms, here's our red lines, give it to Ukraine, let's see what they say, as the US as an intermediary. And we saw that Laura Loomer today largely thinks the same thing, that during President Trump's meeting with Zelensky, they agreed that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will now be heading towards Kiev. Now, we know that these guys are special envoys and diplomats, so it seems like on the diplomatic front, between Russia and Ukraine, of all countries, there will be some further developments. We'll discuss that later, and we'll come back to it. But right now, Benjamin Netanyahu had came out afterwards through his own press in Hebrew here, saying that we had an excellent meeting, and I will give you his direct translation here. I have it. So he said, I've just finished an excellent meeting with President Trump. When I say excellent, it's not just lip service, a conversation with full partnership, with mutual support, with an understanding of the common goal of ensuring that Iran will not have nuclear weapons, as well as other goals. One of the best conversations I've ever had with a president of the United States, our friend Donald Trump. His entire senior team was there, as was our senior team, and here too was an opportunity to exchange ideas and also to coordinate things that are important for the security and future of the state of Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu, as reported by many people around him at this time, was pretty elated coming out of the Oval Office afterwards, and his team, who were reported to be very anxious going into the Oval Office, seemed very relaxed and happy coming out of it. Two things about this, guys. We know that, and I put down in my notes here, so the concerns from Benjamin Netanyahu and his team were about the timing of things, not the objective. The goal is still for both countries to not have the Islamic Republic have a nuclear weapon. It was just, when is that going to happen? How long is it going to take? Hey, Trump, hey, Donald, I got my elections coming up in Israel soon. When are we going to get this thing underway? And it looks like he got a satisfactory answer. And that is pretty good to me. What do you think? I think Bibi walking out of the Oval Office being happy is a good thing.
When Bibi is happy, the Iranian people are happy. Like if he's happy, that means that something good is about to happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
Mamdani could be thrown in prison too. He could be happy about that.
no, but like it's always a good sign when Bibi is happy, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty much aligned. I mean, Zelensky is happy, Slavo Ukrainian, and Israel is happy. I'm Israel Chai. Bibi is happy. Trump is happy. Long live America. And I think when all three of these are happy, that's the best sign for the Iranian people. Javid Shah.
It is. It absolutely is. So we're going to come back to that. We want to show you guys a very important event that happened today. So Lindsey Graham's funeral took place today in Washington, D.C., and we will show you guys the clips, the most important clips that pertain to us and our fight in Iran, starting off with Sean Hannity speaking before the funeral service. Let's see what he had to say.
Trump knows, as Israel knows, as I know, there can be no path to peace until evil is defeated. Evil, in this case, embodied in a death cult, an ideology, the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Thanks to the partnership of the President, the Prime Minister, and many other allies, I pray their days are numbers, and I pray that Lindsey's dream of a lasting peace becomes realized soon. As President Trump.
Gotcha. Thank you, Sean Hannity. It looks like they did talk about that, and it actually talked about a lot more. If anyone knows how to lip read, I have a couple clips for you guys.
Ooh.
So we can't actually see what they're saying. But what is Mr. Zelensky telling Benjamin Netanyahu here?
Wow.
Seems like it was something of, a little bit of a piece of new information, the way he reacted there. Some coordination maybe. If anyone knows how to lip read, let's see. I mean, Zelensky keeps looking at the cameras. Don't know.
I like I like the nodding and the smiling and the handshake. Something is happening. You know, guys,
Yeah.
this has been my dream to I always believe that Ukraine and Israel need to be closer with each other and work with each other a lot more. They share the same enemies, they share the same goals, they share the same type of threat. They're both on the side of liberty, fighting the enemies of liberty. The problem with them getting closer was the fact that there's a lot of Russian, you know, Russia and Israel have a lot of ties with each other, so that makes cooperation quite difficult with Ukraine. But honestly, now with the existential threat to Israel and getting so close to finally finishing the joint enemies of both Israel and Ukraine, I think those considerations could be put aside, especially given how weak Russia is right now. And look at that frame, amazing frame. You cut an amazing frame. Look at that. Look at both of them smiling. Oh my god, wow, what a shot, Ali. That's good, looking at each other smiling. That's nice. Love that. Good catch.
He's not the only person in that building. Remember, we said that Prince Reza Pahlavi is also in the building, and here he is on the right side
Ooh.
there, on the
Speak!
aisle as Donald
Get them!
Trump.
Oh my god! Get them to speak! Look at that! Trump is there.
So,
Prince Reza Pahlavi is there. Oh my god! Nah, go talk to each other.
so
Come
President
on!
Trump actually ends up talking to, I think it was a Saudi Arabian representative standing in front of Prince Reza Pahlavi, and the angle of it was that President Trump can directly see Prince Reza Pahlavi behind the Saudi representative as he talks to him. They didn't directly talk, of course. In fact, Prince Reza Pahlavi was not particularly even trying to look at him, which makes sense. And who knows, right? I don't like to theorize too much about this, but who knows what happens after? What happens right now as we speak, that the funeral service is closing, it's over. Are people going to be meeting afterwards? I mean, I'd be surprised if they weren't. Here's the thing, guys. The only piece of information about this that I do want to give you is that this event is invite only. And with that, we can see that Benjamin Netanyahu was also speaking to Pete Hegseth here, and many people, and Marco Rubio, and it seems like a lot of people are making jokes about this already. Bibi telling them, "Hey, giving his orders to Pete Hegseth and Marco here," but we all know that's not the case. They're pretty much largely on board here. Um, their teams also spoke. Their teams also spoke. So, we have, and ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news here as it popped out of absolutely nowhere. It looks like the ceasefire is completely and officially dead once again, as we now have ballistic missiles being launched from central Iran. I'll show you guys this right here. So, as of 60 seconds ago, Shin has reported ballistic missiles launching from Khomein, Markazi province. Markazi means central in Farsi.
Wow.
Wow, I did not expect that. Vahid Online also confirming. Okay. Well, I
Whoa.
guess we'll also keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen. Could US
This
strikes
must
also
mean
follow?
this must mean the Islamic Republic is already expecting something big is going to come of this. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but the Islamic Republic expect. I mean, think about it, Ali. The attacks on Saudi Arabia from Iraq by the Islamic
Yes.
Republic forces in Iraq, the executions,
Yes.
and now this, to me, the Islamic Republic is basically saying, "Don't you do it? Don't you do it? I know what you're thinking. I still have some deterrence ability."
Yes. And guys, let me make you guys take a look at this. So, showed you guys this. I just want to remind you, as Armin's saying, remember all the events that are happening right now at the same time. If you were to compare them with another period of history, this would be significant escalation right now, with all the leaders meeting to discuss specifically the Islamic Republic. Prince Reza Pahlavi being in that general vicinity. The airlift, as you guys can see over the past 3 days, is intense. All the headlines, Armin, all the headlines are saying negotiation. Trump wants to negotiate, he's negotiating, yet we're seeing one of the biggest logistical and planned operations in United States military history taking place at the same time. Historically, the United States doesn't just bring toys in to play with them on their own, they like testing them out. Armin, do you think things are speeding up both internally and externally in terms of the war with the Islamic Republic?
It seems like we're getting closer and closer to a big decision that has already been made.
Already been
But
made.
what that decision is will be revealed soon. But it seems like we're moving very rapidly close to seeing it.
Yes, I agree. I think a decision has already been made. I think that decision was made as soon as the USS Boxer decided to go from Singapore to the Middle East there. In terms of logistics, that decision was already made back then. Before we get into Iran, let's show you guys what's happened with Saudi Arabia once again. So this is a pipeline from that oil refinery to here, and that across the Saudi desert, ships will now load up oil at Yanbu and the coast, going to take it throughout the Suez or even through Egypt into the Mediterranean and largely Europe in the United States of America. Well, that's become a increasingly more difficult task to undertake. We have seen that the Yanbu, Saudi Aramco Yanbu refinery is still on fire, and it's actually took another hit today. This time, a particularly important building, not a fuel storage, was hit. Seems like the actual refining infrastructure was hit. This building is reported to supply a lot of the European and Saudi itself for grease and other such oil products that you use in machinery, and they're going to be definitely missing that building pretty soon. On the east coast of the Saudi Arabian peninsula, we also see that Abqaiq also came under attack from drones once again. Whereas Abqaiq or Abqaiq, I don't know, it's over here. It's closer to Iraq, where the drones are being fired from IRGC-backed militias and hitting the oil infrastructure once again. So this is the east-west pipeline that Saudi Arabia has, goes over, you don't have to use the Strait of Hormuz that way. Looks like they're coming under significant pressure here. They're reaching out diplomatically. They're reaching out to Ukraine for help. They're doing everything they can to try and defend themselves. And it's yet to see how successful that will be, because half of the Yanbu oil refinery plant was the fires are largely under control now. Most of the entire area was on fire. Now it's significantly smaller. It's not out yet after 3 days of burning one of their most precious, actually their most precious oil refinery in Saudi Arabia. It's 5% of global oil comes from that one spot. It took them about 3 days, and the fires are still not under control. And with that, we can take a look at the US and Chinese oil reserves. So you take a look at the US ending stocks of crude oil. It's pretty low, pretty low. We're right there on the right side. Just make this a little bit bigger for you guys to see. Here we are. So that little dip right there, you guys can see 2020, 2025. We're currently in the conflict, and it took a pretty sharp dive as soon as that conflict has begun. Yeah, it's not looking too good, because China on the other side of the world is also about to pick up its demand for oil. So according to this graph, which I will once again make larger for you guys. Sorry, I know graph. But if you follow
We love graph.
this black line from January till now, their demand went up in anticipation of the US strikes. The war happened, and the Chinese cut their demand for oil significantly to be able to survive this. But now, as of July, about July maybe 10th or 15th there, so 2-3 weeks ago, the Chinese have significantly raised their demand of oil back up to about 75% of their original amount. That means that China is about to start buying, or is buying, all of the oil that is stuck on the oceans waiting for buyers. That will create another shortage of oil on the seas and end up driving the prices in the long run back up again. So it seems like the Chinese are not planning to give the United States any sort of respite with oil prices sticking down low. We're going to start seeing them go up. On the Houthis, China said, yeah, we don't really care. We have no preparations to put pressure on the Houthis. We actually think their demands are legitimate. We think the Houthis made concessions to reach a solution. And they're pretty happy that Saudi Arabia is eating some of the blows here, because, again, as we told you guys yesterday, Saudi Arabia has drifted away from China in the last few years, more towards the United States of America, with the Houthis being a sort of pawn here that are keeping Saudi Arabia in check to join the Abraham Accords. I don't think oil prices are going to get lower than this or stay lower for a significant period of time. I think they're pretty much going to jump back up soon. And I think the military operation also has to happen soon, and it has to be short. But we will see what's happening, as always. We have more ballistic missile launches from the Islamic Republic. So 3 more locations are now also launching ballistic missiles. People are already grabbing pictures of them. Let's take a look at this. Hold this up for you guys, make it bigger. So this person under a tree was able to catch a ballistic missile that actually doesn't seem to be too far away. Looks like he was pretty close, maybe a few miles off from the site that it launched. Got some lovely grapes, though. That's a nice picture if you think about it, because people will think, it's the moon, maybe it's some jet trails, but it's actually a ballistic missile from the terrorist Islamic Republic. and some lovely
That is
grapes.
an incredible picture. Picture of the year right there.
Yeah. Um, so let's take a quick little let's put a little discussion about what's happening right now in Washington D.C. between all the meetings of Israel, Ukraine, United States, and what we're about to see here. So I'm going to make a poll and ask people, what do you think is do you think the operation is going to happen sooner or later? Will the US I mean, these meetings that you're seeing, is there anything in particular that comes to your mind when you see Bibi happy, when you see Zelensky happy, um, you see Prince Reza Pahlavi invited to this event?
I think time. I think that means, to me, this seems like we're moving in the right direction. The forces of for liberty are getting closer and closer with each other, and our enemies are as divided as ever. And I think that the if we could find a way to have a united front, United States, Israel, Ukraine, the Iranian people against this evil, we're going to get to the finish line a lot closer, a lot faster. Um, I just think that I hope that Zelensky and Prime Minister Netanyahu being happy is because they found a way to push back against the isolationists in DC. Like if they have met with President Trump, they're happy about the results. Again, this is also very it's very special that this is at Lindsey Graham's funeral because he would wanted this. These are all allies of Lindsey Graham, all the people that Lindsey Graham has been fighting for. So hopefully, this means that finally the bad influence in Washington, D.C. has been pushed aside, and that atmosphere and that environment is bringing Trump, Zelensky, and Prime Minister Netanyahu, and hopefully Princes of Pahlavi closer together, given what Mark Levin said earlier and how much Mark Levin influences President Trump. I'm hoping that there's also a meeting with Princess of Pahlavi behind the scenes that we are not aware of. I hope that's also happening. By the way, guys, anybody who tells you that they know for sure that it's happening, there's nothing for sure in this. Anybody who's like, oh, for sure, here's some signs that there's a meeting. Like, even if they end up being right, that's not proper analysis. And people who talk like that really don't understand the uncertainty of geopolitics. But what I'm hoping is that it's true that they are meeting, and it is very likely that they are meeting. It
Yes.
doesn't make any sense that Trump and Princess Pahlavi wouldn't be meeting. So if they're not, that's very disappointing, especially given that he's already there.
Yes. And guys, we have the poll up on the screen now. Will the US act soon? Option 1, yes, an operation is imminent. Option 2, no, they benefit from sitting back. So we'll give that 2 minutes and see what you guys think about that. So far, we have about 20 people having voted. And Armin, you're right. Yesterday, we saw Mark Levin talk about, and who's the other guy? I keep forgetting. Victor, forgot his other initials, but talking about Prince Reza Pahlavi being the choice. If you want to back the Iranian people, you have to go through him. And then the next day, we actually see Prince Reza Pahlavi in Washington. He announced that he was going. And I caught that. So I was particularly looking out for him. And I was very happy to see him there. Again,
Mm.
you're right. There's no way for us to know what happens behind closed doors, but you can only hope, right? And yeah,
People are saying in the chat, Victor Davis. Is that the name?
gotcha.
Haven't
Yeah, it
seen
seems like that's the name. So Reuters has come out with an interview today. They came out with I think it was like a 75-minute interview of Prince Reza Pahlavi. They condensed it down to 25 minutes. Reuters, shame on you, because here's what's happening once again. Mainstream media is once again attacking Prince Reza Pahlavi. Did they attack him during the ceasefire? No. We actually didn't hear a thing. That shows that right now, whoever is worried about Prince Reza Pahlavi has decided that now is an important time. We got to attack him again. Let me show you guys a clip, a question from Reuters, these two idiot journalists, and let's see what they ask Prince Reza Pahlavi. Why are they trying to frame him like so?
So I want to ask you about your relationship with the IRGC, because this is brought up in the Mass Judy case as well.
Relationship, that's a big word.
Now, you've said in
That pretty much sums up the entire interview, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what a stupid question. Let's listen to that again.
So I want to ask you about your relationship with the IRGC, because this is brought up in the Mass Judy case as well.
Unbelievable.
I want to ask you about your relationship with the IRGC because this has been brought up. And let's just see again the response.
Relationship, that's a big word.
I mean, that is a very kind response, Mr. Pahlavi. You have much more self-control than I do, I'll be honest.
Are you kidding me? That's
what I'm saying, right? This is the mainstream media choosing. This is an important time to attack Prince Reza Pahlavi. Why? Because it's a sensitive time. Was it a sensitive time during the ceasefire? No, they didn't think Prince Reza Pahlavi was important then. Now they do.
Can I give a background? Guys, this is leftist garbage that they managed to spread. Prince Reza Pahlavi one time came out and mentioned that there are people from the IRGC that are defecting and communicating to him, right? Leftists went out, leftists who are more anti-Pahlavi than anti-Islamic Republic. They actually don't want the Islamic Republic to fall, even though they sometimes pretend like it. But leftist Iranians went out everywhere, said like, oh, Prince Reza Pahlavi admitted that he's in relation, he's basically in touch and communicating with IRGC. The people who are defecting, you goddamn idiots. People who he has to keep the door open so people could join his side. But then the leftists were so successful at spreading that narrative that Prince Reza Pahlavi and IRGC are on the same side. And everywhere Prince Reza Pahlavi goes, they bring that up. Like, oh, you have a relationship with IRGC. He's the biggest enemy of IRGC. He's talking to the defectors, the people who are either defecting or considering defecting. You're muted.
I don't know who these two people are. Some people in the chat are saying Das Stern is one of the guys' name. I don't know, but for all intents and purposes going forward, I will name them Deedle D and Deedle Dum, and we will just end it right there. So the poll results. Will the U.S. act soon? 75% of you said yes, an operation is imminent, and 25% said no. They benefit from sitting back. Armin, what do you think? I think first that an operation is imminent. It's quite expensive moving all these troops and equipment. It's quite expensive of an opportunity cost to have the Marines sitting off the coast of the Islamic Republic rather than defending the Pacific. And while they do benefit from sitting back, I think it's marginally more profitable for the U.S. to push for Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, to push for the proxies in Iraq to be eliminated, and carry out this operation, perhaps even at the same time. And what do you think about that?
I think they're running out of time before the midterms, and they need to get something done fast. I don't know. Okay, so operation imminent depends on what we mean by operation. I mean, some sort of operation will happen, but are we talking about like major escalation to the scale that will, severely wound the Islamic Republic for the Iranian people to be able to do an uprising and get the job done? That's what we have to ask. And I hope so. I don't know, but they're running out of time before the midterms, and going into the midterms, if they don't do anything like that, they need to be able to show some sort of a victory.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And regarding the meeting,
here's the thing: some sort of a victory that the American public will buy, because the American voter might not be following what exactly has the Islamic Republic been, the amount of damage that they have taken,
Yeah.
what the US has been able to accomplish. All they see is that. So here's the thing: here's what the average. I mean, to be fair, they don't have the time to go and follow everything, right? But here's the average US voter will see. They said it's about the uranium. The uranium is still there. The Strait of Hormuz is still, we don't know what's
Yeah.
happening, but it doesn't seem like it's open. Oil prices are, well, I mean, oil prices are down. By the way, that's interesting, right? Oil prices
Mhm.
came back down again.
Seems ships are still being
Probably,
escorted.
yeah. It's also probably because of the pipeline, right? It goes through the Egypt, through the Suez Canal, has actually been very helpful.
Yeah.
That's a pipeline that we haven't been paying attention to. That seems to be helping a lot. Also, it seems like the market's estimate on the Houthis' ability to close Bab el-Mandab is lower than before, based on what they're observing. There seems to be new analysis by the markets is suggesting that the opposition to the Houthis in Yemen is actually significant enough for the Houthis to not become a long-term threat. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but this is what the markets are taking into account in their numbers. And all of that combined, that's probably the reason behind the recent drop in oil prices, which is good for the midterms. Um, if the oil prices drop and we get some United States being able to get some oil at lower prices to flood the market, this might put less pressure on President Trump to do something before the midterms. But again, we have to see. Like, there's so
Oh,
many
right.
different things that are influencing. Yeah, but go on.
Yeah. No, I agree. And about the meeting, um, yeah, about the meeting between these world leaders on this topic, Alistair Newman sent us a super chat saying, I can't have been the only one a little worried about Trump, Bibi, Zelensky, and His Royal Highness in one room, right? Thank God everyone is safe.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.